I wanted the Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus. I wanted the Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus so darn much I was in denial over it. To this day that I never saw any reason to get the Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus release. Why did they make the neck look so bad? I even made a short all about how the Legacy Collection one was good enough because I knew deep in my gariest of gremlin hearts there was no chance I could ever get the Hammond Collection one due to the exorbitant aftermarket prices. Best you're going to get is $250, and that's probably out of the box and damaged. Actual supervillain levels of insanity. There is simply no hope for getting a Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus short of selling a kidney. So sadly, I resigned to never getting my grubby Gary the Gremlin hands on my own Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus. But then, an unlikely savior appeared. Facebook Marketplace to the rescue. Listed as Big Dinosaur and for the steep price of, what? $15 US?
Thank you, kind sir. Oh my God!
Though I've got plenty of theories, and more on that later, I'm not sure why this particular figure is so frequently found on Facebook Marketplace for so much less than it is worth. I, however, am not complaining. Hey guys, Gary the Gremlin here, but I can't deal with that now because today we're looking at the biggest Hammond Collection figure around, the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus. This figure is amazing, simply put. I really, really love it. The vibes are spectacular, and generally this toy has just helped remind me why I love dinosaurs so much in the first place. It's got this immediate sensation of wonder and spectacle, easily being the centerpiece of a collection. That's, of course, in no small part due to the sheer massive size, but also because the immense detail and accuracy that we'll talk more about later. As for how I actually got this big boy, or I guess I should say giant gal, it's canonically a girl. As I mentioned earlier, the real hero of this video is Facebook Marketplace. I may be Boomer the Gremlin, but I don't actually use Facebook at all, and the only reason I have an account is to scroll through Facebook Marketplace. Having my data sold to China is a small price to pay for looking through stupid dinosaur toys all the time. And one Sunday afternoon, I happened to open it up and check, and first thing, I could not believe my eyes, was Big Dinosaur for a meager $15 dues, listed less than an hour ago. I immediately scheduled the meetup. The seller said they could do any time in the next hour, so I grabbed my girlfriend, got in the car, and drove to parts of my state I'd never been to before. It was an hour round trip, and it was on the way there that I remembered I was supposed to be getting lunch with a friend right then, so I had to call him and explain that I was feeding my unhealthy dinosaur obsession, and we then delayed lunch for an hour. That's all really beside the point. It was an adventurous afternoon to say the least, and I felt like a king pulling up to the burger restaurant to meet my friend with a gigantic Brachiosaurus taking up the entirety of my back seat. And I think there's something to be said that this is not an uncommon experience. Hold up, sorry, the whole adventure and burger thing probably is, but you know what I mean. I meant finding this specific figure on Facebook Marketplace for cheap. I'll try to find the post and put it here, but I've seen at least 2 separate other times where someone got this toy for like 20 to 30 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. Some of my commenters assert that I must have the best luck in the world, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I've got one very handy tip for how to get hard to find items like this for cheap. you can't search it by name. Seems counterintuitive, but obviously, if you search Hammond Collection anything, you're just going to get outrageous prices. My tip is to just simply search the word dinosaur. Not even plural, not even with the word toy, just search dinosaur. When you search Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex, you get an experienced collector trying to match eBay prices, selling you a T-Rex for hundreds of dollars. Search dinosaur, and you might just get finds like this one every once in a while. As to why it happens so much with this specific toy, well, these went on deep clearance for a while. I'll see if I can find any photos, but I remember reports of this figure going on discount as cheap as $25 back in the day when it was still on Target shelves. The lady I bought this from told me that her son just wasn't into dinosaurs anymore and that he liked superheroes now. From the accompanying toys in the background of the listing photo, I assume her son was very, very young. Realistically, I think she bought this back when it came out and when it was on discount for one of those great deals. Likely something like $20 to $30, and now she chooses to sell it and half off seemed like fair enough. That's all entirely conjecture, but I doubt she would have priced it at $15 if she had paid the full retail $90 for it. I'm just trying to justify pretty much highway robbery, okay? Let me do it. And a fair question you've probably wondered by now in the video, if you really wanted this toy so much, Gary, why didn't you get it back in 2023 when it came out? And, well, yeah, that's a good question. The answer is because I only have so much space in my room, and I already owned the 2019 Legacy Collection Brachiosaurus. This is his first of many cameos. Anyways, story time over. Was this figure worth all the hassle? Oh, baby, yes. Like I just said, I initially passed on this figure for one main reason. I already owned the Legacy one, and I didn't think there was enough of a difference between the two to warrant getting another super sauropod to crowd up my room. And I could not have been more wrong. I was so wrong. I'm sorry. Starting with the details, this Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus is completely kitted out with full details, from painted toe claws to extensive dry brushing and paint applications. I've never thought the Legacy one looked particularly bad, but next to the Hammond Collection one, it's clearly lacking. I mean, for starters, look at the complete revamp to the head sculpt. Straight up, this is the most major improvement between these two sauropods. I really can't believe exactly how perfect this Brachiosaurus's head is. It looks near identical to the photos of the Stan Winston animatronic. It's got those perfect big Muppet-looking lips and the big dumb, kind eyes. The paint on the head sculpt is great. There's a lot of detail bringing out all the little cracks and bumps, but the best part is by far these eyes. The transparent eyes are often hit or miss, but here they're really working for me. The amber color looks great when it catches the light properly, but it also kind of still works for me when it's not, because the dark black eyes remind me of that of something like a cow's eyes. All big and sweet and dumb. I love this fella, she's so sweet. Fun fact, while we're on the topic of Brachiosaurus's head, did you know that most of what paleontologists know about Brachiosaurus has been directly inferred from its close relative Giraffatitan?
Hello there.
This diagram here shows what little material we have of Brachiosaurus. It's something like only 20%, and you can see that we have only fragments of its skull, and like, damn, they took his whole neck. Whenever you see a Brachiosaurus, such as this toy, you're really looking at a model of a Giraffatitan. In that way, I've always found it so weird that Brachie became so much more famous, even though we know relatively so much less about it. Anyways, the details aren't just good on the head, they continue down the neck and the whole body. The bulk of the paint applications are here on the neck, where this very warm tan fades into the grayish brown of the body. It's a really nice warm coloration and perfectly matches what it looked like on screen. I really love it. All over that big bod, it's got freckles, both painted and plastic ones. Most of the lighter ones are painted on, while there are occasional darker brown spots and speckles that are molded directly into the plastic. There are also these occasional white crusty spots. I guess that's the risk of getting secondhand dinosaurs. They might come with some weird crusties. I cleaned this giant girl with some Clorox wipes, but I seem to randomly always be able to find some more of these random white globs on it. Is that dino DNA? Kinda looks like poop from the pteranodon enclosure. Gross. There's a nice dark brown brushed mostly on the top of the back and down the tail, as well as some lighter tan that's been dry brushed on, really taking advantage of these lovely sculpted wrinkles all over the dinosaur's hide. The level of sculpted texture here is such an improvement over the Legacy one, it's astounding. I love how the wrinkled skin on the thigh is just a bit baggier than the skin on the forelimbs. It really gives the impression of there being musculature and definition, guiding where the skin should sag or be pulled taut. Excellent work from Mattel, genuinely better than most the other Hammond Collection releases. The level of detail here is really crazy. By virtue of being so darn massive, I honestly expected there to be areas where the detail was lacking or incomplete, but that's not the case at all. For a figure with such a big surface area, it's great to see that Mattel took proper advantage of all that free real estate and didn't falter on filling in any of the details. And for reference on how big this girl is, here she is next to the second largest Hammond Collection figure, the Giganotosaurus. The Giganotosaurus is by no means a small figure. That thing is gigantic, clocking in at 28 inches long. It's crazy to see it absolutely dwarfed by the massive Brachiosaurus. Let's do some size comparisons. From snout to tail tip, she's right at 33 inches long and right about 25 inches tall. I was actually surprised to find that the Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus is just a hair shorter than the Legacy one, height and lengthwise. Let's start with the usual comparison. Channel mascot, Action Master Grimlock. Can you even see him? He's so small next to her. Again, she's so big you could fit like a Voyager class Transformer inside her leg. Next up, a whole Jeep full of 1/18th scale human figures, the Habitat Defender Triceratops, the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus, my previous review, the Cyberzoic Allosaurus, the Legacy Collection Diplodocus, and finally, and most fittingly, the Legacy Collection Brachiosaurus. It's great to see the Brachiosaurus reunited with her fellow Morrison Formation gang. Just now realized that I've started to round that group out pretty well. Next up, that Hammond Collection Dryosaurus will be looking pretty sweet with the rest of them. Subscribe to catch that review. Again, not to harp on the Legacy Collection Brachiosaurus, but it's night and day here. On top of all the detail and the better sculpt, even the proportions just seem so much better on this Hammond Collection one. The Legacy Collection one isn't a bad stand-in for a Brachiosaurus for my collection, but the Hammond Collection one just feels right. It's got the correct vibe and the perfect Jurassic feel to it. And arguably, the biggest step up from that Legacy Collection Brachiosaurus is the articulation. Posing time. Starting with the head, you've got a ball joint at the base of the head with a great range of motion and even a full rotation, as well as an opening mouth so it can snack on some leaves. Again, she's so tall that she can easily reach up to my Transformers shelf. It can manage this kind of rearing up pose by being balanced on its hind legs, though you'll have to use the tail as some support and be pretty careful that the feet don't slip out. It is pretty cool that she's posable enough to get into this stance, but I also am not the biggest fan of the tail having to be in on it as well. The tail tip has just got a very simple rotation, though the neck section has a great ball joint and swivel, and the base has a giant hinge and swivel. The range on the hinge is pretty good, but it does seem oddly limited for just how open it is. The thighs have got a great range forward and back, though zero range outwards makes me upset. Knees bend with great range and swivel all the way around, and the feet have a fantastic range, no complaints there. Very similar story for the front legs. excellent, fantastic ankles, good hinge and swivel at the knee, and a basic rotation at the shoulder. Even the most basic figures in the line, small guys like the Scutosaurus, have shoulder joints fully able to hinge outwards, but unfortunately, not on this girl. The neck has a great range of motion with a full swivel all the way around to the base, and then... oh, no, there's no way we're using that. As you can see, the neck can bend down really far on the world's largest hinge joint, but it looks really silly if you take it too far. Makes her the hunchback of the late Jurassic. Used in moderation, this big joint is great, much unlike the weird-ass rubber neck. I think this is the biggest complaint people had about this figure and the thing I was most wary about heading in. Promo shots just made it look so ugly. But good news, you don't have to pose it like that. Duh. In fact, you really can't. Not sure what was happening when they took this photo for the box, because I can bend and twist mine all I want, jork it all over the place, and it will hardly hold a pose. It just springs back into place like a weird and fleshy stress ball. Stress tube? Ugh, gross. So, needless to say, if you were for some reason ever holding out on this gal because you already bought the Legacy one, give it up. This one's better. Unfortunately, that's probably not the case for anyone out there. And if you desperately want to add this super sauropod to your collection, I suggest you start typing Big Dinosaur daily into your Facebook marketplace. Happy hunting, my googly gang. I am beyond happy to be dead wrong about this Hammond Collection release. Before in the past, I had said I didn't want it, and it looked bad, and I want to officially apologize to this toy. This is one of the few Hammond Collection figures I've gotten that actually created a legitimate joy response with me. Usually I'm happy with these toys, or satisfied with them, and every once in a while, pretty darn disappointed. But this Brachiosaurus felt like Christmas morning on some random Sunday in November. And since I know I'm going to get comments about it, let's do this for one more time, at least until I get Sinoceratops and company later on in the year. Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus gets added to the tier list as a well-deserved S tier. I'd say it's definitely a better figure than the Ankylosaurus and the Atrociraptor, and I really enjoy it more than the Giganotosaurus, so it'll rest right behind the Allosaurus, Stygimoloch, and Scutosaurus. Pretty much right at the top of S tier, and right at the top of my heart. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Gary the Gremlin. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.